History is full of mysteries, some scarier than others. Through modern science and reasoning, many of these scary mysteries that once baffled experts have eventually been solved years later. But what's weird about history are the new questions that arise after the mystery is solved. Number 5. We now know that arrowheads were left behind by Neolithic hunter-gatherer societies. But there was once a time when carved arrowheads were considered one of the greatest historical mysteries of the world. Arrowhead hunting has become a hobby in modern times, but finding arrowheads was seen as a matter of survival by many civilians throughout history. The ancient Greeks and Romans thought finding arrowheads protected them from wrathful gods. In order to repel Zeus's lightning, they would add a special magical stone or amulet to the mantle or ceiling of their house, a pointed, carved piece of rock not known as an arrowhead but a thunderstone. Other civilizations, such as medieval England, believed that these stones were artifacts from the darkest moments of a heavenly battle between good and evil. Much of the Western Europe thought that these pointy stones were shot by elves or fairies from the clouds down to the earth. Known as elf arrows, attacks from these stones were thought to cause cattle to suddenly stop eating and waste away. For most cultures, finding an arrowhead was not considered an attack from above, but rather good luck against the scariest mysteries of the world. Throughout history, arrowheads were believed to solve everything from witches, medical ailments, to other untold calamities. Today, arrowheads and other ancient tools are not thought of as a mystery of some higher power. Rather, they're simply another piece in the rich, varied, and strange history of humanity, one that's dark enough on its own without the intervention of vengeful gods. Number 4. One of the scariest mysteries of the world that was eventually solved much later was a story about a sea captain who was struggling to pass the Cape of Good Hope during a major thunderstorm. As waves tossed his ship, he swore aloud that he would succeed even if he had to sail until Judgment Day. The devil heard his oath, and he was condemned to sail his course for all eternity. Stories of the ghostly ship circulated along the Cape when the weather grew grim, and so began the paranormal mystery of the Flying Dutchman. For more than 200 years, starting in the 1600s, the Flying Dutchman plagued the hapless sailors throughout history. Stories of these paranormal encounters were recorded in ship logbooks and letters by the dozen. There's no concrete proof that this specter actually existed though, and there is actually a scientific explanation behind the strange sightings. The Flying Dutchman and other similar scary stories about ghost ships are likely caused by a phenomenon known as Fata Morgana, one of nature's weirdest optical illusions. The ocean cools air temperatures until light bends at a new angle to make it look like an object is floating on the horizon. The ships they saw were most likely normal ships. This Fata Morgana effect was not identified in English writings until the 1820s, well after the Flying Dutchman had already become an urban legend. Although this mystery is considered solved, the story behind the Flying Dutchman is still a part of popular culture, and a stark reminder never to make a deal with pure evil. Number 3. The hydrogen-floated German airship Hindenburg was the largest vessel of its kind. A marvel of modern engineering, it traveled regularly across the Atlantic more than 30 times in 1936 alone. Yet on a fateful afternoon in 1937, the Hindenburg's legacy came crashing down in some of the darkest moments ever caught during a live broadcast. Even today, the unbelievable disaster is remembered by the phrase, "Oh, the humanity," uttered by radio broadcaster Herb Morrison, broadcasting live to thousands of shocked Americans. On May 6, 1937, on its way to its final destination of Lakehurst, New Jersey, the Hindenburg flew over New York City. Although it had flown cross-Atlantic before, this was to be the first of 10 trips from Germany to the United States. As the blimp descended to its docking point at the Lakehurst Naval Base, the entire blimp was aflame within 30 seconds. 35 of the 97 people aboard perished. The disaster happened so fast that no one knew what to make of the mysterious events leading up to the crash. Everything from pilot error to insurance fraud to actual sabotage was proposed. Even the Hindenburg pilot himself, Max Pruss, believed that the crash was an act of espionage to make the Germans look weak during their rise to power. After all, the giant blimp symbolized their capabilities. According to FBI files, which were secret at the time, members of the Department of Commerce supported these claims. Spectators disagreed where the flames first burst forth, making the strange mystery even more challenging to solve. The incident was recorded, but no images exist of the moment of ignition. Despite these setbacks, both the US and German governments each agreed that the cause of the crash was from atmospheric conditions. The scientific consensus is that the ship was leaking hydrogen that was ignited by an electrostatic discharge from lightning storms in the area. In the 2000s, British researchers put this theory to the test, literally, by building 3 hydrogen airship models and crashing them. The lead researcher, Jim Stansfield, is confident that these experiments prove that static electricity is the likely cause of the unbelievable historic event. An ex-NASA engineer named Addison Bain believes that traces of aluminum and other flammable components found within the blimp's overcoat could also be a reason as opposed to hydrogen. While these theories are not nearly as compelling as an act of sabotage, most agree that this strange but true explanation was likely an act of nature. Number 2. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Welsh people spoke of a scary urban legend, warning of their impending demise. The legend of the floating light has a dark history. Encountering a large white flame might mean a woman in your life is going to perish. A red light meant a man, and a small blue flame meant a child. To make these paranormal stories even more terrifying, the light has to travel to the home of the doomed individual. The Welsh had a name for this supernatural occurrence: corpse candles. This weird history story is not a tale unique to Wales. There are similar paranormal stories documented in Sussex and across England. However, the urban legend seemed to be the most widespread in Wales. Stories of these ghostly lights beginning to fade with the rise of industrialization and rapid urbanization gave way to an interesting explanation behind this strange mystery. Early 20th century scholars pored over countless scary stories throughout history before eventually solving the previously unexplained events. The paranormal encounters in question curiously resembled other scientific records from the 1920s regarding the foraging barn owl. In these reports, a special type of light-emitting bacteria found growing inside of decaying trees would cause owls to glow in the dark at night upon contact. Thus, the corpse candles would literally be owls covered in glowing microbes flying through the night, which is about as weird as history gets. A 2006 review further confirms this possibility after tree-nesting ducks were apparently found to glow after roosting in stumps contaminated by light-emitting fungi or bacteria. These strange sightings became less popular in the 20th century, as fewer and fewer residents of Wales lived in rural parts of the countryside, where these owls might fly unimpeded, marking an end to this weird history chapter. Number 1. Even in modern times, Kenya's environment is as beautiful as it is cruel. For those along the banks of the Tsavo River, 1898 is the scariest time period in Kenyan history, for it was the year that 135 lives were taken. As the scary history story goes, March of 1898 was when a team of workers led by British Colonel John Patterson arrived in Kenya to build a bridge over the Tsavo River. Weeks later, one of his crew went missing in the night. What was left of their missing body was found the following morning. Lions attacking humans is rare, but not unheard of, and Colonel Patterson quickly set out to try to find the beast. He found the remains of missing people who had vanished from previous expeditions without a trace. It was clear that a lion was watching, waiting, and stalking them into the strange wilderness, ready to pounce in the night and claim a feast. Patterson and his men were attacked by lions nightly. Within weeks, 17 people had disappeared. The men erected fences of thorns around the camp, kept fires burning all night, and set elaborate traps. But still, the lions came. For 9 months, 2 fully grown male lions, nicknamed the Ghost and the Darkness, stalked the men at night. Collectively, they were called the Savo Man-Eaters. As the haunting tale goes, as many as 28 of his crew were dragged off, some from within their own tents. Including local villagers, the man-eaters were said to have taken the lives of as many as 135 people. Yet, as quickly as the attacks began, they soon ceased. Colonel Patterson managed to hunt down the 2 wild animals in December of 1898, but one scary mystery remained. What had caused these 2 lions to attack so many, and so quickly? The scary mystery baffled experts throughout history for over a century, until 2009, when scientists came upon a credible explanation. Patterson had prized pieces of the lions, partially preserved as trophies, which were later donated to Chicago's Field Museum. A team of biologists conducted a chemical hair and skin analysis on the remains, using isotope ratios to determine exactly what the lion's diet had been. They were able to scientifically conclude that the lion had claimed 11 humans, while the other lion had claimed 24. In addition, examination revealed a really weird history fact. Both of the lions had major dental problems, including missing teeth and abscesses, and one had a misaligned jaw, all of which made chewing food almost unbearable. A 2017 study notes that lions with dental issues will turn to attacking people. We may have solved the mystery of why the lions attacked, but ultimately it doesn't make the man-eating mystery any less macabre. Their creepy history lives on at the Chicago Field Museum, where the lions' bodies can be found on display. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.